We meet at a grave hour. We meet at a time when the world has been reminded that a waterway is not merely geography. It is power, it is commerce, it is food, it is fuel, it is life. The world saw the Strait of Hormuz become the center of confrontation between Iran and the United States. It saw the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding announced with Pakistan's mediation try to reopen that artery of global economy and halt a wider descent into war. The United States and Iran agreed to cease hostilities and reopen the strait, through which roughly 1/5 of the world's oil and liquefied natural gas normally transits. What was the closing of Hormuz? Let us call it by its name. It was the weaponization of a waterway. It was the conversion of a maritime passage into an instrument of compulsion. It was an economic weapon deployed not by mushroom cloud, but by blockade, fear, insurance premiums, empty tankers, rising prices, and trembling markets. Just as no ceasefire and no peace can be achieved between the United States and Iran with the Strait of Hormuz shut, similarly, how can any ceasefire between India and Pakistan hold without the Indus Water Treaty being restored? From Hormuz, we must turn to the Indus, because what is true of the Strait of Hormuz is true with even greater intimacy and greater cruelty of the Indus Basin. A strait may carry the oil. A strait may carry the oil of nations. The Indus carries the life of nations. India had announced its intention to abandon the Indus Waters Treaty as part of their unjustified assault on Pakistan last summer. It is a war that is internationally recognized as one that India lost. Even India's greatest allies can't help but marvel at the number of planes downed by Pakistan. Pakistan, emerging victorious from this David versus Goliath scale conflict, has reshaped the geopolitics of the region. The concept of propping up India as a net security provider in the region has been abandoned, and the world has moved on. However, I must caution, while Pakistan has stuck to the ceasefire, which were to be discussed, whereas Pakistan has stuck to the terms of the ceasefire, India has not. There were clear and explicit terms of the ceasefire which were to be discussed at a meeting in a neutral location where all friction points were to be addressed. We were to return to the status ante in the meantime, which would of course include India returning to its obligations under the Indus Waters Treaty prior to this dispute. It has not. Therefore, a year on, it is a legitimate question for Pakistan to answer. Do we still abide by a ceasefire that leaves far too many questions unanswered? Just as one could not imagine warring parties agreeing to a ceasefire, let alone peace, without a free-flowing Strait of Hormuz, how can Pakistan be expected to sustain a ceasefire when India continues to pose an existential threat? Let there be no ambiguity in Islamabad, in New Delhi, in Washington, in Beijing, in London, at the United Nations. This is not a technical dispute. This is not a clerical quarrel between commissioners. This is not a matter of paperwork, hydrology, or administrative abeyance. This is the weaponization of water. The Indus Water Treaty was not a favor given to Pakistan. It was a solemn international settlement. It was brokered in the shadow of partition because the rivers of Punjab and Sindh could not be left to the mercy of anger. The World Bank states plainly that the treaty allocates the western rivers, the Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, to Pakistan, and the eastern rivers to India, while allowing each side limited uses on rivers allocated to the other. So when India says it will place this treaty in abeyance, India is not merely suspending meetings. It is striking at an international compact that has survived wars, crises, mobilizations, and generations of hostility. And what is the Indus to Pakistan? It is not a river on a map. It is our bread, it is our cotton, it is our wheat, it is our fields of Sindh, our orchards of Punjab, our waters of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, our channels of Balochistan. It is our farmer at dawn. It is our mothers drawing water, our children eating roti, our worker in the mill, our prayer before the harvest. To cut the Indus is not to pressure a government, it is to threaten a people. Pakistan has over 200 million souls. No state, no prime minister, no army, no court, no parliament, no political party, and no generation has the right to stand silent while the lifeline of those souls is placed under the shadow of coercion. We must therefore speak with the seriousness that this situation demands. Pakistan must treat every step towards the strangulation of its waters as a national security assault, not merely a diplomatic irritant, not as a footnote in a foreign ministry brief, not as another file to be moved from one desk to another. It must be treated as an attack on the foundations of the state. That does not mean that Pakistan seeks war. We do not seek war. We have buried